Was Nero truly mad, or did he truly believe that by embracing the mob's anger he could destroy its source? And what's the difference? The empire Nero inherited was drowning under its own weight, an empire of scrolls, taxes, censuses, and bureaucratic demands that touched every life and soured every loyalty. Rome's citizens no longer saw the state as their protector, but as a vast machine that drained them dry. Nero, sensing their hatred, gambled that by burning the machinery, by obliterating the archives and erasing the records, he could cut the cords that strangled the empire and bind the people to him once again. The fire that consumed Rome was not a madman's whim. It was a desperate, rational act of destruction, a calculated wager that destroying memory could renew loyalty. This act of destruction was the final, desperate stage of a system that had been rotting for generations. Augustus had built the empire's greatness on the precision of administrative memory, turning Rome into a living ledger of obligations and entitlements. In exchange for freedom, Augustus had given Rome stability, and for a time it worked. But power calcified into bureaucracy, and what once fed Rome's greatness became a slow poison. Later emperors, from Tiberius's regime of terror, to Caligula's debauched squandering, to Claudius's maze of conflicting reforms, accelerated the decay. What had been an engine of order became an opaque and sprawling labyrinth, and the Roman people, alienated and embittered, no longer saw themselves as citizens of a great project but prisoners of a decaying machine. When the fire tore through Rome's administrative heart, the reaction was not shock but celebration. Grain records, tax ledgers, court archives, all the instruments of control were reduced to smoke and ash. The people who had come to see bureaucracy itself as the enemy cheered the collapse. But in cheering the destruction of the state's memory, they destroyed the only framework that allowed Rome to function. Taxes could no longer be collected, armies could not be paid, contracts could not be enforced. What had been oppressive order gave way to open chaos. This is the forgotten lesson for today's world. The hatred of governance may be justified, but destroying governance itself brings not liberation, but the disintegration of the basic structures that make collective life possible. The collapse spread faster than anyone could control. Without administrative systems, Rome fractured into distrust, hunger, violence, and lawlessness. People clung to illusions that a freer, purer order would emerge, but without memory there was only confusion and predation. In their desperation, Romans turned not to rebuilding, but to blaming. The Christians, already outsiders by faith, language, and poverty, became the perfect scapegoats. Nero's accusation gave the mob a new enemy, but it could not give them bread or law or trust. When administration fails, people do not unite. They devour the nearest target. The real madness was not in Nero's burning of Rome. It was in the belief that a system so intricately built, so deeply woven into daily life, could be destroyed without consequence. It was the madness of thinking that erasing obligations would automatically restore loyalty, that burning records would heal trust, that destroying administration would create freedom. Nero's gamble failed because the bonds between ruler and ruled were already broken beyond repair. The machinery he tried to destroy had outlived its usefulness, but the people had lost the capacity to govern themselves without it. Today, many walk a similar path, mistaking resentment of institutions for readiness to live without them. They celebrate the collapse of oversight, the erasure of memory, the dismantling of bureaucracy, imagining freedom waiting on the other side. But freedom without structure is not liberty, it is anarchy, and anarchy quickly becomes tyranny in new forms. Rome's ashes still whisper the warning: a people can burn down their own house in anger, but they cannot live among the ruins.